Hello, online crew. How are you doing? So, the struggle is real, guys. I'm going to talk about the struggle of social media, what I struggle with. Whether you can relate to that, I'm not quite sure. But I do want to talk about it today because of the whole Christmas thing coming up, New Year's. How do you juggle all the things? The mind game you play with yourself about the responsibilities of the social media, stress levels that you go to with wanting to do all the things and not fitting it all in, and blah blah blah. Okay, so how many of you are honest enough to sort of share that you do struggle with the pressures of social media, like doing all the things, wanting to learn all the things, taking action, and maybe you're not taking as much action as you want to, and then you get pressured from that, and you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it, and then you beat yourself up for what you should be doing. All of that, like the mind game that you play with yourself around social media. Am I the only one that sometimes finds social media exhausting? Or can you relate? I'd love to know how you feel about this topic, because I want to talk about it, particularly because we're going into the sort of the silly season, if you're not already there yet. And how do we manage all of that? And some of the things that I do to manage it, and some of the mind games I play with myself that I have to constantly remind myself to get out of. And I hope through my experience of what I have challenges with, it can help you a little bit. Okay, so welcome to today's broadcast. If we haven't met before, my name is Helen Martin and I'm your online crew captain. This is just a little bit of fun for our online crew community, which is a community of home-based business owners, entrepreneurs, direct sellers, those in network marketing, MLM, and you want to leverage social media to build your business online. But we need to manage the pressures of social media with doing that, and that you can never stop learning. It never stops moving. It's 24 hours a day around the world. Like, it just never stops, which can sometimes be, overwhelming for some people. Okay. And then what people do is they just stop. And then they stop showing up on social media and they take a massive break. And that's not necessarily the best thing that you can do. So we'll talk about that today on today's live. It has been a very busy, it's morning in my part of the world. I realize it's afternoon or evening in your part of the world, but I've already done an hour's training in the coaching community earlier, 2.5 hours ago. Those of you that are coaching community members, go and watch the replay of the training that I did earlier regarding truly evaluating the year that was and setting yourself up for 2022. Very powerful training. So make sure you go and catch the replay. We're emailing it out shortly as well, so it'll be hitting your email if you're a coaching community member shortly. And for those that just joined us on Clubhouse just before, where we sort of continued that discussion of evaluation and going into a new year and all the things that you should be thinking about, regarding that. The replay of that will also be, if you're on my email list, will also be emailed out to you guys in a couple of hours or so. So make sure you catch the recording of that. Really, really important, not only at this time of year, but always, is to be evaluating effectively, what you're doing, where you're heading, and all that kind of stuff. But there's an art to how you do it to be effective. Otherwise, you just think about a lot of things and it wastes a lot of brain space and it doesn't get you anywhere. And you have another year of no results, which is not what you want. So there is a real art to evaluating effectively and setting yourself up for success. And that was everything we sort of discussed on Clubhouse, and particularly in the coaching community. Guys, please go and watch that replay. You'll thank me for it after you've watched it. Okay. So how is everybody? I've got one more live to go before I'm finishing my lives for the year. So we're obviously here today, and I'll be live with you here tomorrow. So please join me for tomorrow's live, because it will be my last official live of the year. I don't know, I might pop on and say hello over Christmas and things like that, but it won't be at my normal scheduled sort of time. So those that are joining me live, we've got Susan here, we've got Hero. That is so fun. So you're talking about the new intro. Yeah, it's nice upbeat music. Hello, Beth. Yes, we've all been together for a few hours now, really. Sassy new video, Helen. Thank you, Joy. Glad you like it. Hello, Olive. Great to see you on. I can relate. I do so much better with the branding and getting crystal clear, and the content is so much better. So the whole branding piece of knowing what you're doing on social media and the content that you put out, like, that's all part of it. But really, it's about being intentional on social media, and this is what I want to discuss today, versus being willy-nilly and all over the place and feeling the pressures of social media, and you just want to take a break. Oh, I've got to take a massive break from social media because it's so overwhelming. A lot of that's actually just in your head, which we'll talk about, as well. It's challenging because I have a regular job that changes my work schedule weekly basis. So yeah, we've all got things we need to juggle, and we need social media to work for us and not against us. Here's where it sits in my life. Okay. So I've gone from the corporate world to this social media world, not knowing anything about it, only about 5 years ago. Like seriously not knowing anything about it, not knowing anything about attraction marketing or social media or live videos or anything about anything, like totally changed my sort of career. And initially when you're learning all the things, and I'm still learning, you never ever stop learning. If you ever think you're going to stop learning on social media, then you need to wake up, because you just never stop learning. There's always something new, technology, new features, new platforms, all the kind of things. But what comes with that is then the pressure of learning all the things, the pressure of showing up everywhere, the pressure of answering messages, the pressure of networking if you're building organically and all that kind of stuff. But here's a question for you. Where is the pressure? Is anyone pressuring you to show up? Is anyone actually pressuring you to learn something new? Is it reality that there's actually pressure there? Or is it what's going up here? Like, think about that for a second. A lot of you that get overwhelmed in social media, and I've seen it. I've seen it with people I coach and mentor and people in my network marketing team. They get so overwhelmed by social media that they escape and they disappear and they let it all go. Where's that pressure coming from? Whose pressure is that? Like, when you really think about that, is there anybody tapping you on the shoulder to pressure you to show up? Or is it in your head thinking, I have to show up, I have to show up, I have to do the things, I have to do TikTok, I have to do reels, I have to post every day, I have to put something in stories every day? Where is the pressure? Does this make sense? Most of the pressure is going on up here in what you think you need to do. Harley, it's honey Zachy. You very rarely hear Harley making noise. But one of my sons is just gone out the front door, so Harley's losing it. Harley, just be quiet for a second. He's barking at you. Thanks, mate. See ya. So we put. Okay, no worries. Thanks, mate. When you really sort of think about it and evaluate it, a lot of that pressure is coming from what you think you need to do. Would that be fair to say? Like, you put a lot of the pressure on yourself. So there's that to evaluate. Where is the pressure really coming from? And actually taking a step back and there's two sides to this. Like, you can say, well, I don't want to do that, and so you don't do it, and then you don't show up for your audience. So you have to balance all of that. You do need to show up, but the pressure is not necessarily a real pressure. It's not reality. It's what's going on in your head with what you think you need to do. So there's something to evaluate. When you're feeling really stressed and really overwhelmed, where's the pressure actually coming from? It's probably in your own head. Okay. So evaluate that for what it is. Here's what I struggle with. I do a lot of things. I have a lot of groups, pages, people, network marketing team. Like, I wake up in the morning, and because I'm in Australia and a lot of people I deal with are in different time zones, my messenger is nuts. Like, there's a lot of people that want my attention, and it does get overwhelming, even for me. Okay. Here's what I struggle with more. Okay. So that's my job, to sort of deal with that, and manage all of that. And I'm sure you can relate to, this, is feeling that you always need to be doing something. This is me anyway, that there's always something to be done. There's something that you should be doing. And there's always, like, how many of you have a to-do list that is really long and you never get through it? How many of you have got like 10, 15 trainings that you want to go back and watch and you don't have time for it? Like, there's something come out, oh yeah, I want to watch that. I want to grab that training. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, how many of you have that list of all the things that you want to do or want to go and learn, or, batch some reels for Instagram or whatever it is? Does this sound familiar to any of you? I have a long to-do list every day that I update every night. There's always a lot of things on it. There's always a lot of things. And I love to learn new things and bring it to you guys. Here's the downfall in always thinking like that is when you get to a weekend, and this was my last Saturday, and this is why I want to raise it, because I had a battle in my own head, and I think talking about it might be able to help somebody out there. So Saturday, I'm like, I knew I've got a really busy week this week, and I don't have time to do Christmas shopping or wrapping presents. So Saturday came around. Friday, I went to the city, did the shopping with the boys, got most things, finished it off Saturday morning. And so Saturdays come around, and it's like, I need to wrap all these presents. It's going to take hours. We're busy Christmas Eve, all the rest of it. And so while I'm wrapping presents, I'm thinking I need to watch a training. I don't know if your brain works like my brain, but my brain never switches off. And I always feel like I need to be doing something useful with my time. So I started watching some trainings, but I couldn't get into it. It doesn't matter. It was all rolling into one. I tried another training from another person, and it's like they're saying all the same freaking things. Teach me something I don't already know. Teach me something new. And I was getting frustrated with the trainings that I was watching, but my brain wasn't in it. It's like, Helen, you need a break. And it's okay to take a break. Even this is your career. This is what you do. You have a lot of people relying on you, all that kind of stuff. So I switched it all off. I was in the kitchen. I put Foxtel, like, is that just an Australian thing or whatever, like something on the TV. I've had the music blaring, and I just kind of danced my way through wrapping my Christmas paper, and I just let go. Okay, what's my point? Allow yourself every now and again to let go of social media. There's one guy, I heard this many months ago, I've shared this before, is a really good time frame to let go on a weekend is midday on a Saturday to midday on a Sunday. Do not touch anything business related on social media. If you're really busy with social media, some of you may not be as busy as I am with social media or have the overwhelm that I have with people wanting me questions in all the groups, then people tagging me like 4 or 5 hours later, can I have your feedback? And it's like, give me a break. I was sleeping when you left that. Like, people's expectations of people on social media is that you're there all the time, especially when you're in a different time zone in a different country. And I'm sleeping when you're awake, but it might be hours for you, but it was sleeping for me. But people's expectations. Do you ever feel that on social media where, you've sent a message to somebody and you're waiting for their response, or vice versa? Like, social media can bring this pressure, but where is the pressure? Need to evaluate. Sometimes the pressure is your own. So really put that into perspective. There may actually be no pressure other than what's in your head. Make sense? So put that into perspective. Secondly, do not feel guilty for taking time off and just allowing yourself to be, because I think everybody needs to do that. I don't want to be ruled by social media. I don't want to be tied to social media. I like my life. I like having fun. I love Christmas time because it's our summer. The kids are on school holidays. We're going away with friends mid-January. You'll probably see all of that. I'm going to have fun. I don't want to feel guilty, which is what I have been. I don't want to feel guilty for not being on social media, and neither should you. So manage the pressure and where the pressure is coming from. If it's your own head, then deal with it and evaluate it effectively. There's plenty of stuff about evaluating from Clubhouse to my coaching community training, earlier today to that's a different topic. But having a break, but don't let it derail you. Because here's what I see happen with people. They get exhausted by social media and then they go. And it's really hard for you to come back. So whatever you need on a weekly basis, on a weekend or something like that, give yourself the grace to step away from it, but don't let it derail you and not come back to it. Because if anybody is friends with you, if you're on a business page or a group and you've got people following you, that's a privilege. It's a privilege to have people choose to follow you, choose to listen to you, choose to be in your group. So when you disappear, guess what happens? So do they. So manage the pressures of social media in allowing yourself to step away, but not step away for too long. So you can wrap your Christmas presents on a Saturday, have the loud music and not feel guilty about it, and just allow yourself to be and allow yourself that detox. Nobody works like a job. Well, some people might. 7 days a week, night and day, you go to a job. Everyone has a couple of days off. So allow yourself that with social media as well without disappearing, because that's the downfall of getting yourself so overwhelmed with social media is you get to the point where I've had enough, I need to disappear. And you disappear for weeks. That's worse. So work out in your world, in your week, in your planning, when you're going to detox, and allow yourself every single week to detox so you can refresh yourself and come back with new vigor. Does that make sense? This is something I battle with all the time in feeling I need to be doing something because one, I love learning, and two, there is never enough hours of the day for me to catch up with all the things that I want to learn. So the battle that goes in my own head is, oh, I'm wrapping Christmas presents. I should listen to a training. And my brain just wasn't there. And it might have been the type of training because it wasn't anything new and I was getting frustrated with it. And I had to say to myself, Helen, just allow yourself to listen to some music, groove to the music and wrap your presents. It's all okay. Like it's a battle that I had with myself, not to feel the pressures of what social media brings sometimes. Can anyone relate to that that's listening to this live or on the replay? Do you feel the pressures of social media in thinking that you need to be there all the time, or you should have posted something, or you should have put a story, and you're thinking about it all the time, and maybe you don't actually follow through the action, and then you beat yourself up for the action that you didn't take, and you've had this massive mind game going on and you didn't do anything? Does that make sense? I'd love to hear your perspective on this for anybody that's listening, in how you manage it, or do you feel this at times? And just really putting perspective into when you feel really pressured by social media, where is the pressure coming from? And I have to talk to myself about that. It's like when I gave up doing live videos on a Saturday for me, which is a Friday night for some of you. I had real guilt about that. But it's like, hang on, this is my life and my kids, and I'm missing out on their sport by going live on a Saturday morning. So I'm not going live anymore because my family's more important to me. I don't want my kids to miss out their mum watching the sport. So we can actually control what we do, and you don't need to feel guilty about that, because the last thing you want social media to do, and this is very easy, is to take over your life and you feel pressured and overwhelmed from it, then you actually disappear. Social media gives you so many advantages. How many of you think that you know me really well and we have a really good connection and we actually have a relationship, but we've never met in person? Is there any of you watching live or on the replay that feel that you kind of know me and we have a connection? And for some of you that I work more closely with, we have each other's back and we're there for each other, but we've never met in person. That is the gold of what we have here through an internet connection. You can build a business and build amazing connections with people around the world through social media. Social media is a blessing when managed well. Social media can be your enemy when it's not managed well. You don't manage your time, you don't manage the expectation, you don't put boundaries up to people. Some of you that always feel you have to answer immediately. Been there, done that with my corporate world. You know, my boss, the president of our company when I was in the corporate world, you know what his nickname for me was? 24/7. Do you know what that means? He knew pretty much I was available to him 24/7 because that's the kind of, that's what I created. Anything he needed, any job that it, needed doing, then, yep, I'll do that. No worries. Would call me at night to get a report done or something. Yet, no worries. Like I created that because I didn't put up enough boundaries. And social media never stops. Offices stop, doors close. Social media doesn't. So you have to learn how to manage that. So you're really intentional with your social media and you don't waste your time on social media because it can be very exhausting. And for some of you, so exhausting enough that you actually disappear for weeks on end, or you're just the stalker, you're not the contributor. If you want to build a business on social media, you need to be a creator of content, not just a consumer. We waste so many time just scrolling through Instagram, scrolling on Facebook, looking at TikToks and, stuff like that. And before you know it, an hour's gone by and you haven't really achieved anything other than just stalking what everyone else is doing. When you get really intentional with your time on social media, and when you're off, allow yourself to be off. And this is something that I've spoken to my VIPs about just recently. Christmas time is bad for you being around a group of people, maybe family and relatives and stuff like that, and you're the one, sitting there answering messages, scrolling social media, so you're there but you're not really there. When you are around your family at Christmas time, pick up your phone when you need to, but please be present with your family and your kids and your rallies. Social media can wait, but don't let it wait for too long. That's the downfall. So it's a bit of a juggling act. For me, it's a mind game of thinking or allowing myself. So I tell myself this constantly. It's okay, Helen, let go. It's okay, Helen, they can wait. It's okay, you don't need that training right now. I'd love to know if any of you can relate to this or if I'm just having a conversation here with myself. So what are your thoughts about this? Okay, and what Susan said is also really important about the branding piece. Like, what are you doing on social media? Have you got a personal brand? Because that's where your content come from and all that kind of stuff. So the branding piece on social media, if you haven't got that sorted out next year. Really, really important piece of the puzzle. Hero, I've already seen that. And we all have challenges. Please go and watch that training, Hero. You'll get a lot out of that. You are pressuring yourself, the pressure to keep up. I've never heard him bark. Yeah, true story. That's me. I don't want to miss any training because I can't keep up if I go back. And that's a real catch. And I get that too, Susan. So you've got to really evaluate what the topic was about as to whether it's a priority or not, and have two separate lists. So I have, with trainings that I want to sort of watch from other people on different topics, I have like one list, and it's mainly in my email box or saved in my Facebook, if it's a Facebook Live type thing, is I have my to watch, like the immediate ones and the ones that I can catch up later. So I kind of separate them, Susan, so you can sort of work out what's really important and what can actually wait in different times. Multitasking. And the only time I like multitasking is what I was saying before with wrapping my Christmas presents, is that's generally when I watch a training, because I don't need to use my brain to wrap paper. Generally. So to wrap presents, sorry. So that's when I'm usually quite good at multitasking, and I do that a lot. But I guess where my brain was on Saturday, it's just like I couldn't take anything more in. I needed a break. And you all get like that sometimes. But I had to make it okay for myself, which is a little bit sad. But this is where I get overwhelmed with social media, thinking I've got to do all the things or I've got to keep up with that. And sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you just need to go and have some fun and have some time with your friends, and just, it's okay to let go. So totally makes sense. Absolutely makes sense sometimes, but changing that as I plan. And plan is where, one of the saviors is in all of this is planning. But it's a big mindset game as well. You're talking about me exactly to Olive. I can relate. I've been away for social media for quite some time. So that's not necessarily a good thing, but that might be because, Olive got to the point where I just need a break, and then you disappear sort of all together. So you got to catch that. If you want to grow on social media, if that's the goal, is not letting social media overwhelm you so much that you kind of disappear because people have started following somebody else. So it is one to catch, and I see people do that all the time. Olive, you're not alone in that one at all. Absolutely, I feel that. We have the best connection, friends forever. Absolutely. Hey, Yvette, how are you? Not sure who that is. I appreciate that you've said this. Now I won't feel guilty enjoying my weekends once I start up again. So here's the balance with it, though, Joy, because I don't want this conversation to be interpreted as it's okay for me not to do anything. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, Joy, but you need, this is probably what I'm trying to say, when you're off, when you're on, but don't always be off and don't always be on. That's about as basic as I can say this message. So when you're off, allow yourself to be off and be with your family and leave the phone alone, and things can wait, and actually be present with your loved ones around you. But when you're on, you're on. So when you've got that mindset, okay, I'm on and I'm off, you can actually balance social media really well. When you play that mind game of maybe you're off, maybe your phone's down, but you think, I should be doing this, or, oh, I better check my messages, and whatever, you're not really off. So when you don't get a break, when you're never really off, that's when it gets exhausting and overwhelming, and you'll probably end up off, and then you've destroyed, well, not destroyed, but you may do a little bit of damage to all the hard work that you did before that. Does that make sense? So don't disappear, and don't, like, from a Friday night to a Sunday night, I wouldn't not be on social media if you're building a business on social media. Like, don't use it as an excuse to walk away from social media, but that's why I like the 12 midday to 12 midday on a Sunday, like a full 24 hours off social media, but anybody can wait that long. So it's a matter of balancing your off time and your on time, but you don't want your off time to be an excuse for you not doing what you're meant to be doing. Because there are always sacrifices in the beginning of your journey, especially this industry. You need to make sacrifices. There are times where you may be wanting to be social, but you're working. That's a sacrifice. I've made so many sacrifices over the last 5 years. I've traveled a lot. I've spent a lot of money. Money is a sacrifice. So I see it as an investment, not as a cost. You should always look at those kind of things as an investment, but that's taken time away from my family and my kids and all that kind of stuff. But you've got to make sacrifices to get to where you want to go. And don't make it okay to have every weekend off social media because you've been told you need to have a social media detox. That's just avoiding what you need to do. So it's a strange conversation to have, because in one hand, I'm telling you, you need downtime and you need a break, but not at the expense of giving yourself the excuses for not doing what you know you need to do to grow your business in the beginning. If you're not successful yet, you need to work harder and you need sacrifices, but not at the expense of burning you out, is what I'm trying to say. So it's a difficult balance. It's having small windows of time where you're off and you're really off. You're not half off, you're really off, but it's only maybe one day, so everybody's a little bit different. I hope you're interpreting this message the right way. I'm not giving you permission to have downtime all the time and make it, well, it's okay because I need a social media detox. It's, if you're not where you want to be in your business, you do need to make sacrifices, but not at the expense of always being absorbed by social media and getting exhausted to the point where then you disappear. I'm hoping that's being interpreted the right way. Laurie, it's hard to let go, but my family needs me to. And there's going to be times where your family needs you more, and that's okay. So don't feel guilty about that. And if Christmas time, more people are around and, the family need you for certain things, then don't feel bad about doing less in your business. Just don't let it derail you. Because this is what I see happen is people like, I need a break. I'm going to have weekends off. And then all their production in their business is gone. They stop getting results. They stop making money. They've gone too far the other way. So you need to have the grace to allow that time, especially this time of year, but you don't want it to derail you. Like, every one of you should have minimum non-negotiables. That doesn't matter what's going on. You brush your teeth every day, don't you? I hope you do. So you do that whether you have a busy day or not. You do that whether you go to bed at 9 p.m. or 12 a.m., correct? It's a non-negotiable. So think of your business the same way. What are your minimum non-negotiables? And do them every single day, okay? Be present in the moment. Wherever that moment is, be present and enjoy it. Yeah, awesome. Said perfectly, all makes sense, beautiful. Non-negotiables are still non-negotiable. Yeah, so you just want that minimum, and if you don't get the minimum, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Don't play the mind game of the pressure, because the pressure is probably your own pressure. but just get on the bandwagon as soon as you possibly can. Don't let too long go before you disappear on social media, but be okay with the fact of having some downtime. It's a constant game I play with myself. So I get it. I'm with you. I wanted to talk about it so you can have a high level of awareness of this and not put all that pressure in your head. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. Tomorrow is my last official live of the year because I'm taking a break next week. So, and my Friday, which could be your Thursday night, is actually our Christmas Eve. So join me tomorrow so I can wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and all the rest of it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you got something out of this message that makes you think about this, the juggling act that we have in social media. And I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye, guys.